Hey everybody, today we're gonna make a fire. What's up everybody? Mike Sturm here, and today we're gonna be going over building a fire. Pretty important skill to have in the backwoods, and just something that's kind of fun to know how to do. Bye. All right, it's important to never overlook the usefulness of resources around you. So what we have here is an old, kind of semi-rotten birch stump. And that's not particularly interesting to me, but what is interesting is there's a piece of chaga down here that I'm going to kind of hack out, and also on the side that is downwind of the prevailing wind conditions, so it doesn't have snow packed onto it, there is some real papery, fairly dry bark, and these are excellent fire starters, particularly this chaga. If this chaga is dry, this is your best friend in a survival situation. So I'm gonna get after this and harvest some materials for our fire building project. So this is chaga, chunk of it, and it's really light, so it should be nice and dry. This holds a spark amazingly well, and it takes a spark very, very well too. So this will be a big help. And you can keep it going forever and ever and ever. And it makes really good tea that's super, super good for you. So this is gonna be super handy. All right, another thing that makes an excellent fire starter is this lichen. But this lichen alone has its drawbacks. It holds a lot of moisture. This holds a spark well, but it won't stay lit very long. So you need to impregnate it with some sort of resin. And you'll notice that there's these blisters here and here. Here's a real good close-up of what those blisters look like. You can see that it just sticks out from the tree, and it's literally just a little pocket full of sap. When we cut them open, all right, as you can see in here, there's a bunch of liquid. So we just take this, and I scoop this out with a knife. All right, and you can see all of that resin. And that works great to hold a flame. Hey everybody, in today's video we are going to be using a ferro rod to create the spark, and we're going to be striking it with pocket knife. This is an Opinel number 8. It's one of my favorite knives on the market right now. It's simple. Anyway, it has a carbon steel blade, and you got to have a carbon steel blade, otherwise your ferro rod will not work. Just a helpful tip, don't ever strike with the blade open. You could damage your blade or you could cut yourself. It's always better to keep it closed, and you can still throw a real good edge off, or a real good spark off of the edge. So, in just a moment, I'm going to get everything set up, and we'll make a little fire. Just a small enough one to show you how it's done. There's no need for me to make a big campfire right now. Perhaps in another video, I'll show you how to go through the process of collecting materials necessary to build a much larger fire, but that's for another one. This is how to get one started. This is the sap impregnated tree lichen you saw me gathering earlier. Just going to pull this apart a bit so that we've got a little more surface area for sparks to land on and catch. As you can see, we're up and rolling in a jiffy. 3 strokes. Man, that sap burns hot. This is just birch bark that burns really, really good, whether it's wet or dry. There's a lot of resin in it. Got some other kindling here that I can get going. Setting that right on top there. And voila, we have fire. Pretty straightforward. Natural materials, again, this lichen, if it's a little bit damp, impregnate it with some sap. Pine trees or spruce trees have some sap. If you can get some flowing sap, it's a lot easier to impregnate it with, but just kind of mash it all in there. And as you can see, it takes a spark remarkably well. All right, now what I have here is a bunch of the white outer bark from some birch that I took off of that rotten birch tree earlier. What I'm going to do is just kind of rub it together, break those fibers up a bit so we've got a little more surface area for our spark to catch. Spread it into a nice little bundle here. All right. There we go. And we are up and rolling. Again, you want to have some twigs handy so that you can feed something to this fire that will, you know, last. But birch bark, even if it's a little bit damp, lights up very, very well, and you can create a very nice little fire. Right? As you can see, that was quick. Obviously, they're wet conditions. You know, we've got plenty of snow on the ground, and yeah, we got a fire going. And the last one for today is chaga. Now, this doesn't jump right up and catch on fire like everything else has. But if you need to make a friction fire, this is a winner. Like, you can literally just rub this on a piece of dried spruce and create an ember that you can blow into a flame with a tinder bundle. And we'll have another video on tinder bundles and all that later. And I can just leave this sit here for quite some time. That'll hold an ember for, a piece that size will probably hold an ember for the rest of the day. The rest of the daylight hours anyway. All right, and we have fire. All right, everybody, that's been the how-to video on using a fire steel or ferro rod and a carbon knife and materials that are around to make a fire in the snow in Alaska. So, catch up with you later. Bye.